Mariusz Pudzianowski, better known to the world as the Dominator, has always looked less like a man and more like a myth carved from marble. With a physique that seems sculpted by the gods themselves and a level of raw power that borders on the absurd, he didn't just compete in strength sports, he ruled them. In the brutal arena of the world's strongest man competition, Pudzianowski established an era of absolute supremacy, becoming the only athlete in history to win the title 5 times. While other giants rose and fell, he stood immovable, a Polish titan rewriting the limits of human capability. To many, that would have been enough. For Mariusz, it was only the beginning. Born in Poland, Pudzianowski developed an obsession with strength at an early age. Discipline became his religion, iron his language. With elite genetics and an almost inhuman work ethic, success followed quickly. Crowds watched in disbelief as he lifted, carried, and pulled weights that defied logic. Events that crushed seasoned veterans became mere stepping stones for the Dominator. Records fell, rivals faded, the throne was his. But domination can become monotonous for a man wired for conquest. After conquering the world of strength, Pudzianowski sought a new battlefield. He signed with Konfrontacja Sztuk Walki, Poland's premier MMA organization, and in December 2009, the strongest man on earth stepped into a cage for the first time as a professional fighter. His debut opponent, Marcin Nyman, believed technique would dismantle brute force. That illusion shattered seconds after the opening bell. Pudzianowski charged forward with primal aggression, turning the bout into a violent storm of raw power. Refinement was absent, but destruction was not. The referee's intervention spared Nyman from further punishment and announced to the world that the Dominator's reign had simply changed arenas. Momentum surged. Within months, Pudzianowski returned to face Yusuke Kawaguchi, overpowering him with the same suffocating intensity. Yet ambition can demand too much too quickly. Just weeks later, he faced former UFC heavyweight champion Tim Sylvia. Fatigue, inexperience, and the reality of elite competition collided. Sylvia exposed the gaps in Pudzianowski's skill set, handing him a humbling defeat. For the first time, brute force alone proved insufficient. That loss became a turning point. Instead of retreating, Pudzianowski evolved. He rebuilt himself, sharpening technique to complement strength. In September 2010, he faced the massive puncher Butterbean. Despite Butterbean's reputation as a knockout artist, Pudzianowski flipped the narrative and nearly his opponent with explosive takedowns and ground control. The victory elevated him from curiosity to legitimate contender. Wars followed. A bloody rivalry with James Thompson tested his resilience. Then came perhaps the most theatrical clash of all, a collision with the monstrous Bob Sapp. Sapp attempted psychological warfare, mocking Pudzianowski publicly, but when the cage door shut, intimidation dissolved. Pudzianowski unleashed calculated fury, overwhelming the larger man and forcing a humbling defeat. The spectacle cemented his credibility. As his record improved, skeptics grew quieter. A showdown with Olympic judo gold medalist Pavel Nostala posed a stylistic nightmare on paper, yet Pudzianowski stunned observers by dominating both standing and on the ground, proving his evolution was real. In September 2010, he added another highlight by knocking out Rollis Gracie in just 30 seconds, earning one of the most emphatic finishes of his career. Still, the path of a fighter is never linear. Losses to seasoned strikers threatened to stall his ascent. Doubters resurfaced. But the Dominator refused to fade. Against the Polish Popek, tension filled the arena. When Popek landed a shot that momentarily dropped him, something primal awakened. Pudzianowski responded with ruthless composure, overwhelming his opponent and reclaiming momentum. Later battles showcased his maturity. Against Erko Jun, illegal tactics and chaos erupted, but Pudzianowski maintained focus, punishing his foe and reinforcing his authority. Even after a 2-year hiatus, when critics questioned his marketability and relevance, he returned to dismantle rising challengers. Victories over Nikola Milanovic and Lukas Yurkowski proved he remained a force. Then came the towering bombardier. Fans anticipated an earthquake. Instead, Pudzianowski detonated first, unleashing speed that belied his mass and finishing the bout in devastating fashion. The highlight reels reignited his aura. Perhaps the most defining moment of his later career arrived against the dangerous Michał Materla. Materla carried knockout power and pedigree, widely considered too sharp and too seasoned. But when the fight began, it was Pudzianowski who dictated the narrative. With relentless pressure and a thunderous uppercut, he sent shockwaves through the division, proving once more that the strongest man on earth had forged himself into a complete fighter. Mariusz Pudzianowski's story isn't merely about muscles or medals, it's about reinvention. It's about a champion who refused to be confined to one definition of greatness. From the throne of strength sports to the unforgiving chaos of mixed martial arts, he embraced risk, endured humiliation, and carved out respect with his own hands. Now the question lingers in the air. What comes next for the Dominator? Will he continue his march towards heavyweight gold, chasing a championship that would complete one of the most unlikely transformations in combat sports history? Or will the call of iron and Atlas stones lure him back to the arena where he first became immortal? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Mariusz Pudzianowski can capture MMA gold? Or has he already cemented a legacy that needs no further validation? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the rise of the strongest man on the planet, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next epic story from the world of combat sports.